I had asked the guy out and legit, I was rejected. The guy told me no. I cannot imagine. Eh? Like, why didn't you say all this all along? Why do you have to make me say all of my deepest secrets? Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Abiola Kemi Ogunleye and this is Let's Get Real with Abiola, where we keep it real on lifestyle, on faith, on love, on femininity, and we also keep it juicy on trends. Oh my. I have missed saying all of this. I've missed it so much. Now you can see that I'm looking so excited. That is because I'm so glad to be back again. So glad to be doing this once more. To all my existing subscribers, thank you so much for keeping it real with me. Thank you for still being there for me. Thank you so much for not leaving. And if you're just coming across this beautiful face for the first time, where have you been all along? I've been waiting for you. Please kindly subscribe. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, and also share to your family, share to your friends, share to your loved ones, even share to as many people as you can. Thank you so much. Now, on today's edition of Let's Get Real, we are going to be keeping it real on dealing with rejection. What does it mean to be rejected? How do you even deal with rejection? Now, if this sounds like what you would like to listen to, keep on watching. How do you deal with rejection? Now, first, what is rejection? Rejection has to do with being denied. Like you're being denied of certain things. You're being rejected, like rejection, denied. So you're being denied. Maybe you apply for work and they told you no, we don't want you. Or even rejection can come even in many forms, such as your family. Your family can reject you. Your friends, people that you trusted, can reject you. And also it can even come from your loved ones, maybe your lover, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband. Rejection comes in many forms. Trust me, we cannot even exhaust it. But on today's edition, we will just stick to rejection when it comes to relationship. Okay, maybe you ask a girl out, or you ask a guy, or as a lady you asked a guy out and the guy rejected you. Now that reminds me of myself. I had asked the guy out and legit, I was rejected. The guy told me no. I cannot imagine. Do you guys want to hear? Okay, you know what? Let me just tell you guys about it. I remember that I dreamt a particular dream when I was in school and when I was in university, actually. And at the time, I don't really used to dream. So I probably felt like what I felt was, oh my, this must be my husband, because I dreamt about that guy. I dreamt about, the whole scenario of maybe you saw a guy fetching water and you are fetching water and the guy comes to help you. Something like that was the dream. And so I was like, okay, maybe myself and the guy were meant to be. But lo and behold, I got to find out that the guy, because we got talking, so I found out that the guy actually was more interested in lawyers. And trust me, your girl was not he was not in that line at all. So I knew we're not meant to be. So at long I just abandoned any hope of us being meant to be. Fast forward to later, many years after, I met a similar guy, not yes, a similar guy. They share a lot of things in common. They look almost the same. They are doing the same profession. They are born in the same birth month. They have a lot of similarity. And then I was like, okay. I just remember that dream that, okay, maybe it was even the one I dreamt about. I was thinking it was my university guy. Apparently, it was not him. But how do I know it wasn't him? It was because we got our contact exchanged, because I used to work for a real estate organization. Should I use past tense? Used. Anyways, I worked for a real estate organization, and the guy was interested in buying property, so we got a contact exchange, and apparently he wasn't interested in our property. So but the conversation kept on going on, although not as frequent, but it was going on, and I was expecting this guy to ask me out. He was not doing anything like that, and I was like, am I confused? Don't I know what I'm doing again? Was this not the guy I saw in my dream? I just had to like someone call it and be like, okay, maybe since I was one that dreamt the dream, I should ask. I should be the one to do the honor, right? Ask the guy out. Trust me, I've not done anything like that before. If you are a lady and you do this type of thing, you ask the guy out. Respect. I respect you. It takes a lot of courage to do that. I called the guy that particular night. I knew it was going to be a long talk. So I called him and then I told him that I wanted to tell him something. And then he was like, okay. I was like, okay, but first, I need to know whether you be matured about it. Because some guys, they are very immature. But I was like, why not? Like, he's going to be very mature about it. So I told him that, okay, I had feelings for him. I liked him and all of that. And then he told me, okay. So it wasn't like, okay, then we need to say some certain things about each other. Is there anything I need to know and all of that? So I told him I spewed out my guts. Like I told him some things I would not tell a random guy. Maybe that was a mistake or maybe not. Because if I'm going to be going to a relationship with someone, truly he needs to know some certain things about me. So I actually told him those things, but lo and behold, he said, it would not work. Like, not because of the things I told him, but he just said I wasn't ready for relationship, and was not just, he just told me straight on that it wasn't going to work and that he wasn't ready, because he actually told me some things too about himself, but he just told me he wasn't really ready, he wasn't in the right frame of mind to be in a relationship. Trust me. I was like, now the thing is, the telltale sign were there. Like the telltale sign, they were there. I knew, I knew even before I asked him how that it wasn't going to work out, because number one, his food preferences were weird. Like I was wondering in my head how I was going to cope living with a man like that for the rest of my life with his food preferences. Another thing is his choice of sports. A lot of things about himself was just odd. The basic is that I was rejected, and how do I deal with it? Like, how do you deal with rejection in that regard? One thing I did was I told the guy that, okay, you've rejected me. I actually chatted him up. I told him we cannot continue chatting. We cannot continue. I have to like separate myself from him, because I knew it was, the fault was not from me, right? It wasn't because I was incapable of loving or of being loved. It wasn't because I was not worth it, or because I knew my worth, I knew my value, and if it was not accepting me, it was because it wasn't meant to be. But for my own sanity, I had to separate myself from him. I had to like told him, okay, I will have to like I didn't block him though, but I just stopped chatting. I told him we're going to stop chatting, so we stopped chatting. Anything that would bring him to my face, I literally avoided him. In fact, at the point I muted him. I had to avoid seeing his status. I had to avoid everything that has to do with him. That was the best way for me at the time, and it worked, because before I knew it, I had even forgotten about him. I had forgotten about him. It worked for me. On general context, you must first realize that rejection is normal. Like, it's normal for people to reject you. You can go for apply for a work and they say they don't want you. Even your lover can tell you they are done. They reject you. They just tell you they reject. The rejection is a normal thing, and you have to know that as much as you want to be valued, you want to be respected, you want to be this, you want to be that. Know that it is okay for people to reject you. However, how do you process yourself? How do you get through it? Number one thing is, why were you rejected? You must first know why you were rejected. Because one of the first thing I did was to ask him what happened. Why were you rejecting me? And then I got to know that, okay, he wasn't ready, wasn't a frame of mind to be in a relationship, and then it was one, and now I knew I wasn't even ready to even be friend zoned. I wasn't even, as much as I want to keep our relationship, I want us to be talking and all of that. I didn't want to be in that, I don't want to be kept in the loop. Yeah. So once you know what you want and you know why you're rejected, it would help you. So if you know that the fault was from you, maybe you didn't do something well, even not just in relationship context. Now maybe you applied for a job and then they told you we cannot accept you. You must first know why were you rejected. If it was maybe the way you pitch for the job, the way and all of that, why were you rejected? So once you know why you were rejected, it was not because of you. And even if it was because of you, how do you work on yourself? How do you get better? How do you do things the right way? Another thing is that if it was, remember we are doing rejection based on relationship now. If a guy rejects you, as much as I don't think I would, as a lady, I don't think I will ask. I don't. In fact, I don't even see myself doing anything like that again, asking a guy out. However, I must salute anyone doing that. I must salute your courage. Now, if you're rejected by a guy, or as a guy you're being rejected by a lady, you must understand that you're not meant for anyone, just as everyone is not meant for you. And hence, if you're rejected, it means that that person does not see the future with you. There's someone that would see the future with you, and you must not count it as you must not count it. You must not count it against them. You must not hate them because of it. Okay, you must not hate them because of it. It is okay for them to even reject you for or than for them to accept you on the basis of a charade. They are just playing with you. They just want to manipulate you. They just want to feast on your feelings. That would be worse. So it is okay for you to be rejected and for you to be manipulated or for you to be pity party. You hate. I hate pity. I don't even like relationship based on pity. Don't pity me because I like you. Then you want to be in relationship because you pity me. Don't. So don't let anyone be in relationship because of pity. So understand that rejection is a part of life and move on. Okay, how do you get yourself to move on? You must look for what works for you, because I knew what works for me is as long as the person is not in my face, I can forget anyone. As that is actually peculiar to me, but if it's peculiar to you, why not? If it is that you block him for your own sanity, if you block her for your own sanity, please do. It will only be for a short while. Once you get your healing, once you can get over it, then I mean that's it. So move on. Do whatever it is for you that will be needed for you to move on. Mute him. You don't see his status. Don't, because you'll be your mind will be like it's not because you hate him, it's not because you envy him, it's not because of anything, it's just because of for your own sanity's sake. Don't just play around his face. Don't let him play around your face. Another thing you need to do aside from doing the things that would make that person not come to your mind, like not being sad about him, not being. Another thing you need to do is grow yourself. Even though I separated myself from him, I need to realize that relationship is not something you rush, it's not something you dabble into. And as such, I wasn't desperate. I have to know that I have to remove desperation. I wasn't I shouldn't even be desperate. I don't have any reason to be. So because if you are desperate for a relationship, you would basically just find yourself in the hands of someone that is not meant for you, in the hands of someone that would wrong you, that would cheat on you, that would just not be right for you. And hence, make sure in the process of your waiting, in your waiting season, don't be desperate and also be growing yourself. How do you grow yourself? Find out what you love doing. If you're employed, do the things you ought to do, get your work early, just be doing the things you do, the regular things you do, and always pray. Don't just leave the place of pray and say, okay, I'm going to work, definitely I'll find a man at work or someone would see me and like me. No, always put everything in prayer, because if you don't put it in prayer, the wrong set of people would attract you, and you don't want to be entangled in the wrong set of people. You need to pray, and you also need to know how you listen, hear from God. Because in your project, in your moment of healing from rejection, you must not be desperate, and you must know what works for you. How do you get yourself to not be to not allow it envelope you, to not allow yourself be swallowed? Yes, don't allow yourself be swallowed by the rejection. Do what works for you. If you have to mute the person, mute the person. If you have to, whatever it is that works for you, do that. If it even has to do with you blocking the person, I would go at any length for my own sanity, and you should also be able to go at any length for your own sanity. So deal with rejection in the way that works for you, but make sure you're not having a toxic mindset. Don't be toxic about it. Don't hate yourself. It is not about you, it is not about them. It is about the fact that what is meant to be would be, what is not meant to be is simply not meant to be. So, on a recap, remember, number one way to deal with rejection is come to the place of acceptance and do whatever it is you need to do to separate yourself from the person that has rejected you. If it is such that you have to block the person, you block the person. If you have to mute the person from seeing your status, mute the person from seeing your status. Just do what, or from you seeing the person's status rather. mute the person from seeing that person's status. Do whatever it is that you need to do, because that is peculiar to me. One way I do it is to not chat with you. And I don't necessarily have to block you, just not chatting with you would do it for me, would suffice. Or if blocking the person would suffice for you, please do so. Number two is you have to know that it is not the person's fault. Don't be toxic about it. Don't hate the person. Okay, and grow yourself in the process. While in your moment of rejection, make sure that you are growing yourself, you're getting better, and you're not desperate. Don't be desperate about it. Don't try and say, okay, because someone has rejected you, you want to go into another person. Don't be desperate. Know that it's okay for you to be rejected and grow yourself. I cannot overemphasize that. And do not forget that you have to put God in prayer in everything. Always pray about it and you will find help. I trust that you find help, and I trust that everything works out for your good, and that rejection will become a story such that it will end in praise, right? You believe in me, don't you? We've come to the end of Let's Get Real with Abiola for today. The next Let's Get Real would be on courage. You should look out for that. On courage, okay? Someone courage. So we meet again next time. Stay enlightened, stay blessed. Bye bye.